Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Jasmina from Jasmina Astrology. And today I have a special guest. We're going to talk about the Chinese astrology and the year of the wooden dragon that is already going, but still very current. Please welcome my dear guest, Letao. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Thank you
so much. Yeah, thank you so much for having me today. Yeah.
No problem. So thank you for taking your time to do this. I know you're very busy and I really appreciate it. So Letao is astrologer, tarot reader, numerologist, and he combines many different things. And he's a spiritual counselor of a healing kingdom. I really love that. So before we start talking about the wooden dragon, tell me a little bit more about your work, a healing kingdom. What is it all about? And introduce yourself through that to viewers.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much again. Yeah, for having me. I'm Letao. I've been practicing astrology, tarot reading, and also numerology for I would say almost 10 years. I started in 2015. And I'm also a certified counselor here in Hong Kong, where I'm based. Yeah. And so my session is called the spiritual counseling, and where I would use different divinational tools to help clients analyze their mind, their psychology. And so there's a very big part of our session that is to deal with counseling. And so sometimes, I've received inquiries from people and say, oh, I'm looking for a fortune teller and I found you. And I said, well, kind of like 50% you're there, but I'm not really a fortune teller, right? So you would expecting to have a counseling session when you come to me. And so that's mainly what I do, and I'm really glad to connect with you, Jasmina, because I know that you are an astrologist, and I've seen your website and everything, yeah, and really glad to connect with someone working the same field.
Absolutely, thank you so much. Yeah, I love it. I love talk to as a true Gemini. I'm a Gemini Sun and Moon and Virgo rising, Mercurial girl. My three big passions are astrology, talking, and meeting people. So this is what feeds my soul.
Awesome. Yeah. Can I just ask a very quick question? Yeah. Are you a May Gemini or June Gemini?
I'm a June Gemini, and I'm also a horse.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think I'm an Earth horse, so that's good.
Earth horse. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
78 generation. Yeah. See, I know I should book a session with you. I already know that I've got so many different spicy things to tell me, and my Gemini brain just loves information. So
yeah.
We can talk about that. Okay, thank you. I was wondering, so I know that every year there's a special year coming, and it is connecting with numbers as well. So why? I know that years ending with 4, 3, 2 depends also have a meaning, right? So this wooden dragon, what is it all about? Why is it you're so special? How can we embrace this dragon who is wild, but how can we embrace him and tame him a little bit?
Well, first of all, right, I mean, there are 12 animal signs on the Chinese zodiac wheel. And in fact, this is actually a very interesting. The dragon is the only animal that is spiritual, because you can find all the other 11 animals in our real world. But dragon, well, you can say they do exist, right? I mean, sometimes we call lizards dragons, right? Or, the bearded dragon, that kind of stuff, right? But, you know what I mean. We don't really see actual dragons on a daily basis. So the year of dragon already carries a very mystical component, with it, right? We can call that superstition, or we can say that's just, something the Chinese people have believed in, since the ancient days. We love dragon babies, basically. I mean, people tend to want to give birth to their children, to their babies in dragon year. And so hospitals usually are busy dragon year, right? So everyone is trying to give birth during that time. And by the way, I just want to clarify one thing. When we talk about, whether you're a dragon, you're a horse, you are let's say a rabbit, or you're a monkey, we're not talking about the Western year. Yeah. And I think, and even a lot of Chinese people will mix this up. We're also not really talking about the Chinese lunar year either. A lot of people thought that, okay, so this is what I mean, right? So people will be surprised, because everyone thought that the zodiac sign starts on the Chinese lunar year, which is actually not true. The actual starting day of each zodiac sign is on the so-called the beginning of the spring, based on ancient Chinese calendar, and that's usually on February the 4th. And if we want to use Western astrology to explain when is the actual starting day of the astrological year in Chinese astrology, it's basically when the sun moves to 15 degrees of Aquarius.
Wow. But why? Fascinating. I never knew that. I always thought that the new first moon. Okay. So tell me, this is really fascinating.
Yeah. Right. So the Chinese 12 zodiac signs have nothing to deal with the lunar calendar, actually. And so in Chinese, we call the 12 zodiac signs the earthly stems. Yeah, it's just a term to call them. Yeah. And when we look at the 12 earthly stems, we're only looking at the solar calendar instead of a lunar calendar.
Okay.
The reason why a lot of the people would use new moon in Aquarius every year, first of all, it is very close. It's pretty much, because every year sometimes it's after the Lunar New Year, sometimes it's after February the 4th. Sometimes it's before that, right? Because usually Chinese New Year falls around end of January, beginning of February, that period of time. And so it's just, and also because Chinese New Year is such a big celebration. And, and people will say, Happy New Year, Happy Year of Dragon, Happy Year of Rooster, right? So slowly people, it's just easier for people to remember, I think. Yeah. Okay. But because February the 4th, the so-called the starting of spring is not really a celebrated, a festival in China. It's merely a calendar date, to be honest. And it was used actually, the ancient solar calendar in China was used actually in agriculture. So it tells the farmers when to plant the seeds and when to, let's say, harvest, all these kind of agricultural stuff. And these days we're very detached from agriculture activities, unless you are a farmer. And so, that's the misunderstanding. Yeah. And of course, on February the 4th, and as an astrologist, I think you are very familiar with this. Even when we say February the 4th, we don't know whether the sun has moved into 15 degrees of Aquarius yet, right? Maybe in the early morning, it's 14 degrees, 55 minutes, right? And that doesn't count. You have to really make sure the sun has moved into 15 degrees of Aquarius. And that's a starting day of the new zodiac sign.
My eyes. This is a mind blowing. Like for now, I'm going to really look at it. That's so interesting. I love it.
Yeah. So for example, in Hong Kong or in China, if you go to a master, let's say, the Chinese astrology master. And let's say if your birthday is February the 3rd, which is, possible, right? And, if that year, the Chinese New Year was before that, you might have believed that you were a different zodiac sign your whole life. And when you go to the master, you realize, oh, actually, that's not my sign. I think it's a little bit like, the Western zodiac sign when you're born on the cusp. Right? People tend to think that they're the different sign, but then as an astrologer, you tell them, oh, actually, no, your sun is still at, 29 degrees, 55 minutes. And so let's,
February 3rd. And now I'm going to actually check his degree. I don't remember by, now I'm going to look at what is he this or that? Is he dragon or something before? He was in 88.
Yeah. Especially I would say, someone's birthday on February the 3rd or 4th, definitely check. Yeah. If the birthday is on February the 5th, definitely that's already the new zodiac sign. Yeah. February the 2nd, definitely the previous one. Yeah. Okay. But 3 and 4, let's check, and we have the Western astrology software. We can check the degrees, right? So the best way to see is just whether the sun has entered the 15 degrees in Aquarius. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. So this dragon, what year started February 4th this year? Let's say February 4th. Exactly the time, around the globe, become 15 degrees is in different time, right? It can be at night.
Correct.
Depending where you live, right? So.
Correct. Yeah.
That was important. So I know that, and also I wanted to ask you because people always think about 4 elements, like fire, earth, air, and then metal. But come wood, what is this now? Like this is.
Yeah. So that's also interesting, right? So for example, the Chinese 5 elements, actually have nothing to do with the Western 4 elements. So even with the same element, let's say the Chinese water and the Western water, they don't mean the same thing. So for example, in Western astrology, when we talk about water signs, right, we talk about emotion, feelings, right, intuition, all these kind of things. Mm-hmm. But in Chinese astrology, water does not mean any of those things. When we have a lot of water elements in our signs, right? The water element is talking about fluidity. Mm-hmm. So, for example, someone could be extremely, let's say, quick in their thinking, and they're changeable, they're volatile, and they're very material. And so usually that's the water element, right? And, so, they're not really the same. And the 5 elements in Chinese astrology come from the Taoism, alchemist. So they have a very interesting relationship with each other. For example, the wood would generate fire, but the wood would, kill, earth will generate metal, but earth will kill water. So there's something to generate something. There's something to kill or to resist something. Yeah. And so that's how the 5 elements works. Yeah.
Oh, like a circle of life. One.
Correct. Yeah.
There and then ends with this one. It's a circle. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that means that some elements are friends to each other and some are not. So
Yeah.
I would say the same thing for the zodiac signs, Chinese, right? So some would be friends and some would be not. So who is because
right. But also, the interesting thing is, when we look at someone's chart, right? Let's say this person has a lot of, because when we look at, analyzing people's life in Chinese astrology, we use the 4 pillars of heaven, right? And so one of the pillar is called the pillar of the day. And that, element is actually their main element, right? Let's say, for example, someone's element is fire, right? But there are also 2 types of fire, right? Whether you are the strong fire or you are the weak fire. And it doesn't mean that you're strong or weak. It's just a term. Okay. But the interesting thing is you would think that, okay, because, wood generates fire. So fire people, they might need a lot of, wood, right? So if they are surrounded by wood people, they might be happy. But actually that's not the truth because, Chinese astrology is all about balance. So for example, if this person has very strong fire in them, if you put them with a lot of wood energy, it kills them. Because what we want is we don't want anything too much. We don't want anything too little. So it's a little bit like we're always looking for that middle point, and that's when we feel happy and balanced. It's a little bit like the temperance card in tarot. So if someone has extremely strong fire energy in them, they need to avoid wood, even though wood generates them, because they already carry a lot of fire in them. You use wood to generate more fire in them, then they will go overboard. It's a little bit like, the Mars energy, right? Mars is good, it's motivation, it's action. But when someone has too much Mars energy, then they become aggressive. And they become violent, right? And so it's a little bit like that. And the same as, water or metal or earth or wood, you don't want them to have too much of that element. And that is why there's a very interesting practice in giving names to children in Chinese culture. So when kids were born, the parents will bring the kids to a master, and the master will check whether the kids have the balanced 5 elements. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes maybe the kid lacks water in their chart. So when the parents give the name to the children, they will make sure that the name carries some water meaning in it.
Oh, like numerology, like yeah.
Because, in Chinese, we write in Chinese characters, right? So we will make sure that the word that we give, to our children, as their name has some, water, meaning in it, let's say.
That is so poetic, actually. I love it. It's like a story.
Yeah.
I like it. So you're saying that a day has element a month? That's why you probably asked me, was I a May or a June? It's a different element then, right? A day, month, year, element. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So the foundation of Chinese astrology and philosophy is about balance. It's about, we don't want too much of something, but we also don't want too little of something. If you don't have enough, let's add a little bit more, either through your name or through the place you live, through other activities you can do to complement, right? And if you have too much of something, then maybe you need to get rid of that by, again, changing where you live. And that's a different field, right? Because when you talk about use outside environment, we're talking about feng shui. And so that's a complete different study. Yes. Which is different from Chinese astrology. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So much information. I love it. Okay. So let's go back to dragon and wood dragon. Why is this wood dragon, special? What is this?
Yeah. So first of all, dragon year is always special, right? For Chinese people, because in the ancient days, we used to believe that our emperors were incarnations of dragons. And so dragons are always very powerful. They're a symbol of power, and momentum, and manifestation. So people love dragon year anyway. And this wood energy is interesting because, the dragon year is a wood dragon, right? Sometimes it could be the next dragon year, which would be, 12 years later, is going to be a different element. But wood, you can think of the energy of wood. Wood is basically like a tree, right? What we want tree to do is we want tree to grow very tall and very big. But in order for us to do that, the root has to be deep because a tree cannot grow very high if the root is shallow, right? Because we know if the tree is like let's say 10 meters tall, probably the root is 20 meters deep, right? The root is much longer than the branches. And so the wood year usually is talking about that kind of sturdy and steady foundation that we might need. We want to grow high, but we also need to know how to go deep.
So so you would say this is a year to actually put the foundations, a good foundations for better growth. So
I wouldn't say it's all about foundation, but if it's specifically for, let's say, for dragon people this year, for monkeys and also for, roosters and also rats, those 4 signs, if they're trying to grow high, it's because these 4, the other 3 signs, right? They are kind of friends with dragon. So they tend to receive a little bit blessing from the so-called Tai Sui, which is the zodiac god in Chinese astrology. They tend to receive blessings from them. So we tend to want to go very, very fast this year. We want to do a lot of things and, achievement, things like that. But this, the wood dragon energy tells you that, okay, you can go high, you can reach as far as you can grab the sun and moon, but at the same time, are you deeply rooted at the same time? If you're not, maybe we should grow our roots first. So a little bit like that. Yeah.
I like that.
So the wood dragon, it's kind of interesting. And also eventually, when we look at astrology, because Chinese astrology is extremely complicated, actually. So when we look at someone's, the 4 pillars, right, you have to also analyze, let's say someone is a monkey, for example, and are they also a wood monkey or are they a metal monkey? That kind of stuff, right? And then you also look at, the combinations between the year of the day, year of the months, the year and the pillar of time, and whether they work very well with each other or not. And that, would need to, as a client, you might need to go to a master to ask these kind of questions. Yeah. But as a general, usually we're looking at just the zodiac sign, and we're also looking at the protective stars that, the Tai Sui is, giving to you, this year.
What stars? Now I'm totally, again, what do you mean?
It's just too very complicated, right? So there are many, many stars actually in astrology, Chinese astrology that we look, in Western astrology, I think mainly we're looking at 8 to 9 different planets, right? Of course, we can count, the minor things as well. We can look at Vesta, we can look at Juno.
Asteroids.
Right? But in Chinese astrology, probably there were like more than 50 or 60 different stars there. And every year, one of the stars or 2 stars will come your way for your zodiac sign. Like, for example, this year, let's say for tiger people, for example, one of the biggest stars that will, come to assist them is called Yima in Chinese. And Yima means a running horse. Or you can see this as Pegasus in Western astrology. And so when Pegasus comes to tiger people this year, Pegasus, of course, that could mean, assistance, right? Help from the divine. But most importantly, Pegasus is a little bit like a vehicle. It carries you, to where you want to be. So this year would be a very busy travel year for tiger people. And whether we use that in a wise way or not, that is, completely depending on the individual's approach. But tiger people this year, I would highly encourage them with this Pegasus energy or Ima's energy. We can, for example, do things that we want to do if it's related to foreign travel, long haul travel, just go somewhere that we have always wanted to go because there's a purpose there, right? Et cetera, et cetera. The Ima energy doesn't really have a lot to deal with our holiday travel, actually, but I think it has a lot to deal with, for example, you have a mission and you want to go somewhere to achieve.
So it can be a spiritual travel as well. Did I freeze?
Yeah, you're freezing. Am I freezing?
No, you're okay. Okay, doesn't matter. I'm freezing. I can't fix it right now. So let's talking because I know we're time limited. So I'm going to be frozen for the rest of the talk.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Maybe you can close your camera and turn it on again.
I don't know. Let's see.
So you can just off the camera and turn it on again.
No.
Oh, okay. All
right. Now I'm just a second. Maybe I can fix it like this. Just a second.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Life. Okay, let's see. You can continue talking. So tell me about the horse. So I'm going to a little bit personalize a little bit of this and tell me what about the horse this year? Because I want to know.
Horse people, right? Okay. So let's have a look. Yeah. So for horse people, yeah. So the good thing about the horse, okay, now we're back. So for horse people, you actually have got 3 beautiful stars this year, helping you. Yeah. And one of the most important star is called Heaven Heaven Relief. And this card usually is talking about resolving crisis. This star usually is useful when you're going through crisis and somehow there will be some kind of divine assistance coming in to help you resolve. But this star is not very useful if your life is going just really well, because it's called Heaven Relief. Yeah, it's only useful when you have a problem that you need to resolve. So that could be good. Yeah. And the second one is called the Chamber of Phoenix. The Chamber of Phoenix is talking about the environment that you're in. You will have opportunities to actually go up a level in terms of the environment. Now, one of the typical example I can give to you is, for example, this year you might be connected with people, especially people that you feel either they are, doesn't mean they're government officials, yeah, but this could be about people who are, you feel that they're high up there. For example, this could be about, very important people or scholars and things like that. Because the Chamber of Phoenix is basically talking about a beautiful place. So you can imagine it's a little bit like a big hall, right? And everyone is wearing a suit and a evening dress, right? You're holding a champagne and you're talking to each other. It's a little bit like that kind of energy. And the last one is also good. It's called Taiji Nobleman. And this is, a very beautiful star. Taiji Nobleman is very, very good when it comes to, for people who are studying astrology or any type of metaphysical studies. Yeah. Because this star has all to deal with the high priestess in tarot. And so this is not really a star to help us achieve things, but it's something to help us to study, learn, and tap into our intuition. This could be very, very good, especially, people either work in this industry or people who want to study and want to learn about this. Now, I don't know if you teach astrology or not. If you teach, this could be very, very good. This could be saying that through your teaching, you will also be able to gain more insights either from your students or from your environment.
I actually started a little workshops, but I want to expand this. So this is actually perfect. It's giving me really a boost of focus. Well, thank you. So,
yeah.
Okay. On the other hand, is there maybe any Chinese horoscope zodiac signs that are maybe struggling this year? Although it's a dragon, it's prosperous for everybody, but maybe some of them are struggling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So there are two signs I would say maybe, it doesn't mean that it's bad. Yeah. But it just, sometimes we need to focus our energy in different things. For example, in, Chinese astrology, what is clashing with the dragon is rabbit and dog. Okay. So it means that the dragon is not their friends. Yeah. But so when it's dragon's year, of course, these two signs, they might have a little bit challenges in front of them. Yeah. There's one star that is protecting the rabbit though this year, but this god is literally called the rest god. So what does that mean? It means for rabbit people this year, you need to rest. So stop struggling, stop fighting, stop feeling I have to do this. I have to have it. If I don't have it, I'm going to kill you, that kind of energy. Cause sometimes we can be very, very stubborn in our own way, right? We must have what we want. For rabbit people this year tells you need to relax and you need to rest. You need to sleep. You might need to take good care of your physical health as well as your immune system. Let's put it this way. Yeah. Because they do have, a little bit, both mental and also physical, let's say vulnerability this year. Yeah. For rabbit people. Yeah.
We keep the rabbit year, right? Last year was a rabbit year, right?
Exactly. We just had a rabbit year. Exactly. Yeah. So I think this is important. Yeah. And the dog year people this year is also showing that what they need to do is they need to, relax a little bit. Yeah. This year, the keyword for dog is about trust. They have a very good star with them called National Treasure. And this star usually needs them to build trust first instead of going to the result. So for example, if you want a promotion, right? If a dog person wants, when I say dog person, you know what I mean? Like zodiac sign dog, right? If they want a promotion, instead of getting the promotion this year, which is not, a very common thing when the Tai Sui is clashing with your sign, not saying it's a definitely no, but it's harder. Yeah. Instead of aiming at a promotion, maybe this year is more about building trust with your boss. So, this National Treasure star usually will help you, connect with trustworthy people. So once the trust is there, then when it's a year that is your luck, for example, this could be about next year or the year after, then the promotion might come easily.
Yeah. But I find that actually everybody needs to do something, just where you're going to focus your energy. Even as you said, for horses, there's a learning opportunity to learn to teach, but then you have to make an effort to actually do that. So it's not like it's going to come like this. So I like that.
Yeah. The only sign that I would say that really needs to just focus on rest and not really trying much is rabbit this year.
Yeah.
Especially I think for rabbit people, if you have been tired or you just stressed out, last year or whatever that is, because, last year was rabbit year. I mean, when it's our own year, we're also saying that it's clashing with the Tai Sui. So it's actually not a relaxing year usually when it's our own year. Yeah. And so I think for rabbit people, some of them, especially in my personal consultation, realize they've been just stressed out and they're just kind of like drained, right? So I would say to them, relax, right? Dragon year, for you, first of all, take good care of yourself, because your external success will really become a mirror of your inner success. So once you internally, when you feel you're in line with yourself, the external, happiness would come, much easier. Yeah.
Ah, amazing. It's okay. So dragons, I'm just wondering, is it any connection with the nodes we have in a Western astrology? How we call the North Node, the head of a dragon, and the South Node, the tail. Did this notion of nodes and dragon came from China to India and then to Western astrology? Is there a connection?
Well, yes, there is. Yeah. But we're not really looking at the node itself, actually. But this is more through the calculation, because, when we talk about a lunar node, we're talking about some kind of karmic, points, right, in our life, right? Things like that.
Yeah.
So in Chinese astrology, we also, but with this requires a lot of calculation. So it's not just one point, and we look at on the chart and we say, okay, this is what it is. So yeah, and that's more complicated. Yeah.
I was wondering, if this year is more karmic than the others, just because it's dragon, or doesn't?
No, I think 100%. I mean, personally, I believe so, okay. And I really believe that every year when it's a dragon year, there's some kind of karmic energies there. Again, we talk about dragons, we talk about, because dragon is something that can exist in anywhere, right? They can fly in the sky, they can swim in the water, they can live on the land, right? Energy that transcends all layers of our world. And so I do believe that there could be sort of like a circle there, like Ouroboros, right? Snake biting its own tail. Yeah.
Like something ending, something beginning, something new beginning. Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So another question, quick, for dragons. I don't think it's a wood dragon, but is it favorable for all the other dragons, the fire, the water, the wood one?
Right. So that, again, we have to look at the individual's chart, right? I mean, first of all, as a dragon, because this year is the dragon year, so that basically we're seeing the Tai Sui, the god of the zodiac signs, right? The Tai Sui is sitting on your head. Because you are a dragon, and this year Tai Sui is moving to dragon, so they're sitting on you, basically. Yeah. Yeah. And again, when it comes to element, we're also looking at, how strong your element is, right? So when we say you're a fire dragon, we're talking about the pillar of the day. It carries the fire energy. But what about the element surrounding it, right? Do you have a lot of fire around you? If you do, then you're a very strong fire. And of course, you have to calculate that, right? It's usually by points. And so if you carry a lot of fire in you, then you don't need much wood to burn, right? To give your energy, because it will be too much. So again, it's really case by case. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, these 4 pillars, actually, when we say, I'm this in Chinese horoscope, it's actually nothing. It's just a little small layer of many others that we need to. Yes. I like that. That's very good. So, another correlation, maybe, those elements in Chinese horoscope, do they correlate with planets in Western?
So not really, actually. No? I mean, the sun and moon definitely are studied very, very much in Chinese astrology. Yeah. Even though we call them different names. Yeah. Okay. Sun and moon, definitely. We don't really look at the so-called, the Western, the planets. We're more or less looking at the fixed stars in Chinese astrology. So that's a big deal. The fixed stars are a big deal in Chinese astrology. Yeah. And also when we look at the zodiac signs, we don't really look at the 12, the so-called, zodiac signs on the ecliptic. We're dividing the sky into 28 sections. So in Chinese astrology, we have 28 zodiac signs instead of 12.
Yeah, because it's element, animal, and then you go, and then what else do you have?
Well, they have nothing to do with sorry. Yeah. Let me explain this a little bit more. Yeah. So the Chinese zodiac signs, yeah, when we say them, we're not talking about the actual constellations in the sky.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So this is, again, different from Western astrology. Yeah? When you say Aries, right, okay, that part of the sky is Aries. In Chinese astrology, when we look at the 12 zodiac signs, they're not actually the constellations in the sky. Basically, they are pointing at the directions. This has a lot to do with Jupiter. Because Jupiter cycles 12 years, right? So the opposite, so wherever you see the Jupiter is in the sky, the opposite direction of Jupiter, that's the zodiac sign.
Oh, interesting. Wow. See?
Yeah. So And then when we look at the actual zodiac signs, when we talk about zodiac signs, in Chinese astrology, it's a different thing. 28 different sections in the sky that we look at, and they have nothing to do with the Chinese zodiac signs, and they usually have things to do with, let's say, the protective stars and things like that. So, I mean, Chinese astrology, it's like a whole different system, and it's way up personally, because I've studied both. I think Chinese astrology is way more complicated and difficult. And there are so many things you just have to memorize. It's less.
I know you memorize, but I'm thinking, do you have any ephemeris, like a Chinese horoscope ephemeris, like a book? You know how in Western astrology, we have an ephemeris and we look at all the stars and planets and the positions. Do we have anything like that I mean, which tools do you use to have everything in your head? It must be hard. You have to have some kind of.
So we use in total 22 different symbols to talk about the energy, actually. And there are 10 of them is called the heavenly stems, and the other 12 is called the earthly branches.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Yeah.
So each year it's a combination among those 22 different not elements but names, let's say, in between. So for example, this year, we say the wood dragon, but in Chinese, we don't really say it's wood. We say it's Jia Chen, and Jia is one of the 10 heavenly stems. And Jia carries the wood energy. That's why we say it's wood. And Chen basically just means dragon. So it's a little bit like that, right? So every year when we look at the energies, we're not really looking to the sky, but we're doing the calculations of those 22, the stems and the branches. And we find the regularities.
So do you have a software, or do you everything by hand? I'm just so curious.
No, software. There's software.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But the software is a lot more, it's less, what's the right word? They are less graphic than Western astrology. Because Western astrology, you see literally a chart where the planets are. You're looking at the angles and everything. Chinese astrology calculation is not a chart. It's all words. It's like an Excel sheet, a little bit like that. Yeah.
So it's like a story. You combine words to make a story.
Yeah. I don't know if I can share my screen with you. I can show you what it looks like. I mean,
if I can,
I'm happy to show you what it looks like.
I don't know. I think I can give you an option, but I don't know.
Let me see if I can share it. 1 second. I'll share. Okay. So it seems like you have disabled it. But no problem. Let me just give you a screenshot. I'll send you a screenshot what it looks like, and I'll send you as a document. This is just a part of the chart. This is not the whole chart.
Oh, okay. Okay. I found it. I found it. I wanna. Okay. Okay. I think I gave you permission now. Let me know if you.
Oh, yeah.
Did I give you permission?
Yeah.
Okay, now you can share your screen. I found the button. So.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes. Oh, look at that. Okay.
So something like this.
It's amazing.
Okay, so it's not a chart. It's just a whole bunch of words being squeezed into like a Excel sheet, something like that. So these are the things. See, these four, for example, the Jia Xin, Wu Bing, these are the heavenly stems, right? And here, Zi Wei, Chen Shen, and Shen Chen, they are the four pillars of someone's earthly branches, right? And so you have to look at the combination between them. And also each branch would also carry the second layer of the stems. So it's very complicated, and you also have to look at the combination. So this is something not, that's why I'm saying Western astrology, I feel, is way more graphic. It's like a picture, right? You can see, and it's easier to understand. Chinese astrology, even this for Chinese people, they wouldn't have an idea what this means if they don't study it.
Which takes me to another question. Do you teach people who don't know Chinese letters? Is there an option to learn this in English?
Well, you just have to look at the pronunciation, right? Like, for example, you can see here, it says Z-I.
I'm jealous. I want to know.
Okay, Z-I. So that's a pronunciation of this Chinese character is called Zi. Yeah. And this one, W-E-I, and this is called Wei. And trust me, for Chinese people, probably they will feel the same as you, because none of these Chinese characters make sense to them. We don't use these Chinese characters in our daily life. So people wouldn't know. If you show a Chinese person this word and you say, tell me something about astrology about this word, they will have no idea. So you have to memorize everything and study it. Yeah. They are just symbols. They're not actually, Chinese people wouldn't understand this anyway. So.
to be honest, my Gemini brain I just love this. I love these patterns. I love so now it's okay. So let's finish up our conversation. This was brilliant. My mind blowing. So tell me, what do you teach? Like, do you teach this type of astrology to people? Chinese people, what is happening? I want to sign up.
So well, probably not at this moment. So I'm not really teaching anything at this moment. Mainly the main thing that I do is personal counseling. Yeah. One-to-one sessions.
Okay.
And the other thing that I do is, as you know, I'm a published author. And so I also, do my, Oracle deck promotions and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us before we finish the conversation. I really want to thank you for your time. This was brilliant. My mind is, I'm going to find something. I'm probably going to book a consultation because I just need to know. I think you will be a brilliant teacher. I like just the way you speak. It's so understandable. It's beautiful. And I hope that you will teach one day so I can sign up for your class.
Absolutely. Yeah. One day. Yeah. Cause, once I have a proper system, right? A curriculum, definitely. Yeah. I will announce it on my Instagram, announce it everywhere. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
This is literally food for my soul.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I didn't ask you what is your big three and invest in astrology, if I may ask. For my viewers.
What do you mean by big three?
No, sun, moon, and rising. Everybody wants to know this.
Oh, okay. So I'm Cancer sun, Capricorn moon. So I'm a full moon baby.
Ooh.
And and I'm Virgo ascendant.
Oh, just like me, Virgo ascendant. There you go. I knew you had something Virgo in you. I just said, thanks not to no one.
It's interesting. A lot of people say that. I've met a lot of people, right? They into astrology and they're like, are you a Virgo? And I said, you're ascendant Virgo. Yes. Yeah. Do I look like a hermit? Maybe. Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay. So before we finish this up, please tell people, where can people find you? What do you have now going? Just tell us more.
Right. So people can find me through my website is or they can also find me through my Instagram account at Letao Letao Wang. So it's just my name, Letao Wang. And also they can also find my just published Oracle deck, Oracle of the Mythic Heroes. Yeah, this deck of cards just released January the 9th this year, about 2 months ago. You can find this deck of cards on Amazon. This is a deck of cards that I personally designed, and I wrote the entire guidebook, which is over 200 pages, about Western mythology and how they are related to astrology. Yeah. So for people who are interested in mythology, Roman, Greek, I think this could be very, very enlightening.
That's beautiful because we draw inspiration from mythology. When archetypes, when we talk about somebody's chart. So I think it's very useful. Thank you again. I appreciate it. For everybody else, thank you again for watching. You can find me for the next episode. You know where to find me, www, just everywhere, Instagram, YouTube, and my website. And until the next time, goodbye. Thank you.